Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update this channel daily. If you like this watch, you can see it and purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Today, we discuss the Hublot Big Bang MECA-10 King Gold. Part of a series that first bowed at Baselworld 2016, the MECA-10 is an extraordinary fusion, to use Hublot's favorite word, of the Big Bang one-click case with a 10-day power reserve manufacturer manual wind movement. You can see on my 16cm circumference wrist, it is, well, big. As per its name, it is 45 millimeters in diameter, though in truth, the 45 wears more like a 47 or a 48. It is a big watch across the wrist thanks to the winglet design of the case on both sides. It's broad across the wrist too, a timepiece 57.1 millimeters from lug to lug, and fairly thick. I say fairly because I actually expected more than 16 millimeters of girth given what's inside the case. I will mention, however, and this is where I'm going to dismount the strap so we can see the movement on both sides with facility. This is where I'm going to mention that the shape does matter. The lugs are canted downward around the wrist, so rather than being a straight flaring 57 millimeters, this one actually will meet you halfway. And I find that though my wrist is small at 16 centimeters circumference, you could probably wear this watch down to a wrist size of 15 centimeters with security because of the way that case is shaped. The strap is a very substantial piece, and because we are talking about the one-click case, I'll show you how that works. It's exactly like an automotive seatbelt buckle. That spring-loaded trapezoid right there allows you to release the system. You simply click it back into position to refit it. Now you can clean, you can change the look of your watch, and the strap is nicely integrated into the swell of the lugs. In profile, it matches the width of the case, and from the top, it matches the taper of the lugs. Nicely executed, strong definition striations, and then it becomes very thin as it approaches the clasp, so it's soft as it arcs under the wrist, where your wrist is going to be a little bit more sensitive, and Hublot is mindful of that. H pattern inside the chassis of the clasp, you can see it's a minderless system. When I had it on the wrist earlier, the strap tucks any excess length down and under the clasp itself, so there are no minder loops on the strap and nothing to encumber the watch visually. There's no excess length flapping in the breeze. A combination of a metal and a gold clasp. It's PVD coated on the inside. You can see the Hublot logo even on the interior. Twin trigger release, so it cannot accidentally pop open. It must be positively disengaged. The case form, as ever with the Big Bang, is modular. The resin inserts on the flanks, the King Gold cap, bezel, and case back. You may ask, what is the difference between Magic Gold and King Gold? Because Hublot makes both. Well, Magic Gold is hard and it's a yellow bronze color, whereas King Gold is red. So you can ask yourself, is it red? That's King Gold. That's all you have to ask, and you'll know. Polished as well as satin finished titanium H-pattern bezel bolts, fixing the bezel to the composite bezel gasket just above the case that is beautifully architectural in its form. Some folks wouldn't apply the word beautiful to an Hublot, but I'm going to. These are very nicely made, and the standards of fit and finish, possibly in excess of what you expect from a company known for being brash more than beautiful, but this watch certainly qualifies on both counts. Moving into the dial, you can see the attention to detail in those dished and double-finished titanium bolts, but you can also see that the dial itself is fascinating. The movement, Hublot manufacture caliber HUB-1201, is a 24-jewel twin mainspring barrel manual wind 10-day power reserve, and it's designed to evoke the look of a machine, like the case, only more so. The specific inspiration is 1960s race cars, as well as a Rector set, or if you're from Europe, Meccano toys. Boys love to play with those. Women increasingly these days too have adopted the architectural and engineering-oriented Meccano and Erector sets to put together toys of their own construction, and that's exactly what this watch is, designed to evoke a childhood favorite and effectively become a toy for those who have grown up. The dial is surprisingly easy to read once you get used to it. The hands at center, your hours and minutes, and there's a sub-seconds dial at 9 o'clock. Cantilevered rose gold indices. You can see for the hours there's a dished ray hot outboard, so this dial has phenomenal depth. From the time you leave the bezel right down to the base plates of the HUB-1201, it beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour to give it that extraordinary power reserve, and in addition to being wonderfully transparent and layered, it's fully finished with the polished Hublot H-pattern bolts on what qualifies as a secondary power reserve display. let me try to demonstrate this to effect, but there is a second power reserve, the one for 10 days at 6 o'clock, and then this aperture changes from black to red as the watch enters its last 48 hours of power reserve. There is a rack and pinion system that's driven off the barrels that itself drives these two subsidiary power reserve mechanisms. You can see that rack and pinion at 12 o'clock. The Hublot logo ghosted on top, fully loomed. It's an easy watch to read day or night. And turn it all over. Twin mainspring barrels of enormous proportions, and you can see that they are open barrels, so you can actually read the coiling of the mainsprings as your cue as to how tightly wound they are and how energized the watch is. 100 meters water resistant. This is an all-around sports watch. It may be bigger and bolder than everyday use dictates, but hey, if you're from my old stomping ground Miami, this is practically an office watch. See it and make it yours on the watch box. Hublot Big Bang MECA-10. Highly loomed. Surprisingly so. See it on the watch box.